I dreamt about Mr. Spaghetti Man last night. It was weird. I had night terrors when I was a teenager, and last night was just like one of my old episodes. I was tossing and turning all night as rain pattered against my window. Then eventually I was just frozen in a cold sweat laying on my stomach. I stared off into the darkness, and I noticed a shadow that looked like a bundle of long, twisted sticks tied together, hovering close to my face. I tried to say something, but the words felt stuck inside my throat. The shadow abruptly left my field of vision, and then I felt a sudden jab on the back of my right thigh. I could just barely make out that there was a large figure standing near my window. It was thinner than any human being should be or even could be. In fact, it looked as though the figure would not have room inside its body for the bones that anything of its size would biologically be expected to have. I'm pretty sure the top of it was touching my bedroom ceiling, which is about 10 feet high. The thing that made a shrill hissing sound like a snake whispering something under its breath. Next thing I knew, day had come and the thing was gone without a trace. I know it was just a vivid nightmare, and there's literally no evidence that what I saw last night was real. But I got damn terrified just thinking about what I saw. Since the silly name Mr. Spaghetti Man undermines the horror I saw last night, I'll be calling him Stick Man from now on. I finished up what work I had for the day by noon so that I could try and investigate some history about the area. Unfortunately, there isn't anything I could find out unnaturally skinny beings that live in the woods. The area does have some folklore to it, but none of it seems to be related to anything I'm dealing with. I will mention that our area has more alleged UFO sightings than the average rural town does. I found 11 posts about sightings of bright circles in the sky within a 20-mile radius of my home. The most recent one is from a couple months ago, but most of them happened in the late 1990s and early 2000s. I strongly doubt that's anything more than a coincidence for what I'm dealing with, though. Still no answers. I guess my only choice right now is to just sit Ellie down and confront her again. Be much sterner with her this time. Maybe now that I have composed myself, I'll have better questions to ask. I knock on Ellie's door. She is playing games on my iPad when I stopped in. "Hi, honey, can we talk?" She shuffled around on the bed and put the iPad down. "Hi, Daddy, I guess." Not a great start. She was clearly still being elusive with me. I looked at her desk for a minute, just out of compulsion. The drawing that started all this, which had been sitting there for 3 or 4 days, was gone. I have had enough with my 6-year-old daughter trying to outsmart me. Ellie, listen to me. When you tell me things like you did the other night about Mr. Spaghetti Man, that scares me. I'm just worried. Will you talk to me about it, please? She was able to muster a shaky yes. Okay, good. Since you just told me about him, has Mr. Spaghetti Man visited again? She nodded yes. I continued. Was he mad at you? She shook her head no this time. Okay. Did you want him to come back again? Yeah. Why, sweetie? Doesn't he scare you? No, Daddy. I wanted to give him his picture. I told him I was going to make it for him. I wasn't really sure where to go right now. Why doesn't he scare you? What if he wants to hurt you? He's nice, Daddy. He wants to be my friend. He's been my friend for months now, and he's never done anything bad. He's nice, Daddy. He wants to be my friend. He's been my friend for months now, and he's never done anything bad. But Ellie, how can you be sure of that? She started sniffling. Me making her cry wasn't what I wanted. Baby, you don't have to be sad. I'm not mad. I promise. Did he like your drawing for him? Yes, he took it. I think he liked it. That's good. What does he usually say to you when he visits? I just want to make sure he's not saying anything bad or scary. Tell me, sweetheart. I don't care if it makes him sad. Tears were wailing in her eyes. I'm guessing she left. I'm guessing she felt conflicted, but I'm her father. I trump her horrifying friend's feelings. Ellie, please just tell me. Mr. Spaghetti Man knows Mom. What? That's all I could say. How else does one respond to the revelation that your daughter's imaginary friend knows your dead wife? I try to compose myself and continue. He knows your mother? She nodded yes as tears started pouring down her face. I realized I had nowhere else to go. This was over my head, way over my head. I had to call my mom and tell her about this. Baby, I'm sorry I made you cry. We don't have to talk about this anymore. Gammy's going to call me soon, so I'll let you go, okay? Okay, Daddy. Ellie was still in tears, but she got up and hugged me tightly while she was still crying. I may not have made any progress, but it was reassuring knowing she might be done shutting me out. I started to leave her room. Daddy? Ellie called out to me. Yes, sweetie? I said, turning to face her. She didn't say anything. She did this the other night too. She was trying to find the right words. Ellie, you don't have to. We can stop talking about... She cut me off. She wanted to tell me this. Mr. Spaghetti Man said he wants to take me to Mommy. Fuck. I see. When you said the other night that someone you told about Mr. Spaghetti Man was gone forever, did you mean Mommy? She shook her head no. Mr. Spaghetti Man is friends with Mommy. She's not gone forever, but he knows where she is and wants to take me to be with her forever. She shut the door. I told my mom everything that had happened the past few nights. On my computer screen, my mom sipped tea from a blue and white Nixon's My Man she got as a joke gift from my father on one of their anniversaries. She put the mug down and adjusted her thick glasses before she finally spoke. That's all certainly is different, but quite frankly, I don't think it's as bad as you think it is. You're kidding me, Mom. Don't interrupt. If you don't want my advice, you're free to hang up. She paused. She'd been playing me like this since birth. No, I'm sorry. You know best. Just try and tell what I should do to at least understand Ellie, please. I tried to stay as measured as possible, she continued. That's better. For starters, children's brains are strange, and their imaginations are almost limitless. They are surrounded and influenced by so many external stimuli they don't understand, which sometimes leads to very strange results. Now let's focus on specifics with Ellie. She's already lost a parent. She was bound to develop some sort of coping mechanism for this loss, and in this case, it's a secret magical figure supposedly connect her with the mother she barely knew. Why is this figure a man made of spaghetti? I have no idea. It could be something as mundane. She was eating spaghetti the day it's grief, coping, and incidental association. I saw my mom smirk at the camera. I asked her about why he lived in the woods. That's pretty obvious too. Think about where you live. Your house is surrounded on two of four sides, but nothing but trees. To her little mind, those woods are a world of mystery right outside her door. And she's scared of the woods, isn't she? Yeah, I mean, last time I checked, she was. You did? You need to do better. You need to care as if you were two parents. You need to do better. You need to care as if you were two parents. You need to be much more attentive. Mom, I'm just saying, she continued. You're the only parent now. I understand you do your best, but you don't do anywhere near enough for your kids. I bit my tongue literally. I didn't want to yell, but I slammed my hand onto the desk in front of my computer. Mom, are you analyzing Ellie or me? Stop. This isn't helping. I think you should just try and spend more time paying attention to your children is all. Maybe you would have noticed this sooner. I responding, somebody has to put food on the table here, damn it. Don't swear at me. I'm your mother. I always paid attention to you while helping put food on your plate. Just think about what I said. I know you're doing it alone. She stopped. I think the tragic death of my wife is off limits for even her. I'm sorry. I sighed. It's fine, Mom, really. Thanks for your help with Ellie. You don't think there's anything to be worried about? I didn't say that. It's just something that I can easily address. Why don't you let me talk to her one night? I stayed silent. As you can probably tell, I don't want her digging through my daughter's thoughts to make her feel like a freak. That's exactly what she did with me when I was younger, whether she meant to do that or not. She spoke up again. I think it would really help. It could ease your mind, and I could help you and Ellie and even Michael come to terms with losing Hannah. I know, Mom, I know. We all went to counseling. I think don't tell me your kids are okay. They need so much more help with this, and I think you do too. I say this because I love you and I love my grandkids and I love Hannah. That I believed. Okay, I said reluctantly. I'll tell you. I'll let you pick our brains. Maybe it's for the best. It will be. Let's plan to talk again 2 days from now. I think that spaghetti man thing, it's best if I start with an individual session for each of you to understand where you all are. Fine. You worry about specifics and let me know. Thanks, Mom. Well, good night. Wait, I'm curious. Are you still having your nightmares? Before all this stickman stuff started, I was having reoccurring nightmares. They were vague. All I know is there would be a man I didn't recognize coming into my office. He's injured, and something he does or says scares the hell out of me. So I run out of the office and the dream ends. Every time I had the nightmare, I'd wake up terrified. With a few exceptions, I think I have been having that exact same dream every night for a few months. Yes, I have been. I'd rather not talk about that right now, okay? Love you, Ma. She blew me a kiss and waved goodbye. I really do love her. She just isn't a perfect mom. But then again, no parent is perfect, no matter how hard they try. It was a little after 4 o'clock when I finished talking to my mom. Ellie was still in her room with the door closed. I wanted to just go downstairs, but the stuff about being a more attentive father was fresh in my mind. I scratched the itch on the back of my thigh. Then I reluctantly moved to Ellie's door and knocked on it. In a happier mood, she greeted me. Hi, how was Gammy? She's good. She wants to talk to you one of these nights. Okay. So listen, one last thing from before. If Mr. Spaghetti Man knows Mom and she's not gone forever, then who is gone forever? Who else did you tell about Mr. Spaghetti Man? Annie. She's gone forever. Okay, who is Annie? And what does that mean? Annie is from school. I told her about Mr. Spaghetti Man, and then that night he came over with Annie and told me I would never see her again. There Ellie was freaking me out again. I changed the subject and went downstairs to start dinner. I decided to call Ellie's school. I figured if Ellie's school really was gone forever, they would know something about it, right? I called and reached the assistant principal, Miss Brandt. After some polite chatting, I brought up Annie. But I couldn't just say that my daughter told me someone from school went missing and that thinks she's telling the truth. I'm calling because Ellie said someone took her sweatshirt a couple months ago before school ended. I hadn't gotten around to calling until now. Totally understandable. Miss Brandt Pep was almost seeping out of the phone at this point. She said it was someone named Annie, but she didn't know her last name. Annie? You sure? Are you sure it was Annie? Yeah, that's who she said. Well, I'm sorry, sir. Her tone had changed once I brought up the name Annie. I felt like something bad was coming. If she meant who I'm thinking, Annie was Ellie's counselor here, but Annie quit on us almost a month before school ended. She just stopped showing up to work. Maybe Ellie meant someone else? I'm really not sure, but Annie would not have been there before we moved to online classes. I apologized and hung up. It's totally possible that Annie did in fact just quit, and Ellie conflated that with Mr. Spaghetti Man. It is also possible that Stickman made Annie disappear, and the school just didn't think much of it. I don't want to think about it right now. Maybe I'll look into missing persons reports from the area and look for someone named Annie. That's all I got. The rest of the night was uneventful. The three of us ate dinner. I stayed on light and happy things. I engaged with Michael more thoughtfully than usual. It was awkward and it made me worry that my mom was right. Maybe me needing to do way more for my kids. But maybe tonight I'll sleep a little better, not worrying that my daughter is going to be abducted by some freak from the woods. It was almost 9 o'clock when I took the garbage and recycling bins out from the garage to the end of the driveway. I usually take them out earlier, but it had rained unexpectedly after dinner for a few hours, so I waited for that to clear up. Once I left them there, I turned around to walk back towards the garage. Our driveway is long and slightly inclined downhill. When facing my house, the house on the left of the driveway and the woods start on the right of the driveway. As I stood looking back at my house, I noticed some movement in the tree line at the bottom of the driveway. I noticed movement very high in the tree line. I could swear I saw a long, skinny, high-hanging branch jolt silently into the woods. There was no evidence that anything out there of the ordinary had happened. I felt the hairs on my arms and neck stand up as I walked down my driveway and back to my house, and clenched my teeth as I passed by where I thought I had seen the movement. I looked into the woods. It was dark, but I could see the outlines of many tall, skinny trees shuffling about with the breeze. I wondered in that moment if one of these was Stickman taunting me, knowing I couldn't tell the difference between him and the sea of trees surrounding him. Just then, a distant, blood-curdling scream shook my concentration. It sounded like a woman's tortured screams, and from where I was standing, I knew that they were definitely coming from inside the woods. I tried to reassure myself that things were perfectly fine as I returned to my open garage door. I told myself the sounds were nothing more than a coyote's call as I frantically closed the interior door from the garage behind me for the first time in years. It was right around Ellie's bedtime, but I figured she was probably still awake doing something. Just to make sure she was safe, I crept up to her room and peeked in through her cracked open door. She was awake, sitting on her bed by the open window, with her bedside lamp illuminating her room. I knocked and went in to talk to her. Nothing of note was said. Before I left, she asked if I could shut her window. As I did, I took in the picturesque view of our moonlit backyard that Ellie could see from her room's only window. This view, unblocked by any trees, reminded me of why I fell in love with this house in the first place. A few hours later, I was ready to go to bed until I remembered there was a pile of laundry downstairs waiting for me. I figured it might help take my mind off the other things. Plus, I knew I'd be so mad at myself if I didn't at least put in the first load before I went to bed. So I went downstairs and threw a couple soft but dirty items in the wash before I felt something hard and crusty in the laundry bin. It felt so different, so I pulled it out. It was a pair of pajama pants, clearly Ellie's, covered from top to bottom with dried-on mud. I could barely see the purple plaid pattern of them behind the dirt. I don't let Ellie go outside in pajamas. I have no idea what this means yet, but there is no way it's good.